Sometime later today, if the weather is right and all systems are go, we will get to witness Starship 10 taking off and hopefully achieving all of the things that it needs to achieve today. Hopefully, this is going to be a super successful flight. But also, starting today at 5 o'clock California time, I think that's fairly close to when Starship is supposed to launch. We're going to have another launch. At least that's my opinion. And I'll challenge you to look over my 10 reasons and tell me where I'm off. The launch that I'm talking about is that at 5 o'clock California time today, Robinhood opens up trading in Tesla stock. And I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a continuation of Friday's upward momentum. And those 10 reasons for that. And I think this is going to be the launch of the shot to the moon, if you will, for Tesla that we've all been waiting for. Now, it may take all of September. It may go into October in order to get to all-time highs. Maybe it'll be even longer, but I think we're going to be generally heading in that direction because of these 10 reasons. And it might be pretty fast or, maybe not. We'll see. But let's go over the 10 reasons and see if you think I have anything, if there's any wisdom in what I'm proposing. Let's start with Elon Musk's comment, which has gotten a lot of play already, and maybe you're already aware of it, but maybe not. So what he was replying to James Dama, who was talking about the release of version 14 of excuse me, of FSD. And version 14 of FSD, James Dama was saying could be 10 times safer than a human driver. Elon responded to that. He said, V14 will be better than human for sure, but I don't know if it'll be 10x. He says, maybe it'll be only 2 to 3x. So what does that mean? Well, okay, that just, all by itself, that should move the stock tonight, tomorrow, the rest of the week. Just that statement alone should move the stock. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people, even major investors in Tesla, that are not paying as much attention as you and I. And so it might take a few days for this to truly sink in. But when you're talking about Tesla's version 14 being multiple times better than a human driver, it opens up all kinds of opportunities. Number one, it will sell more cars. So it will become a situation where anybody who now gets a test ride in a car with version 14 will want the car. It'll no longer be a case. Already, if you take a friend in your car right now with version 4, even my version, which is still in the 12s and on hardware 3, the car drives perfectly. People are like, wow, that's unbelievable. But from what we're being told, version 14 is going to be so human-like as to be kind of freaky. Again, anybody that takes a test drive in it will be a much higher level of people wanting to purchase than currently is the case, or people that have already got a car who are going to be wanting to pay the $100 a month to get the service. So that'll be a huge bump right there. Number two, FSD 14 will sell cars themselves. So they'll sell FSD, more people buy FSD, but more people buy cars. They will buy the cars just to get the FSD. And I think it will start to get folks like a 10-year younger version of me would have been starting to buy up used cars and maybe even new cars in order to be ready to be in the fleets. And then number three, FSD 14, if it's 2 to 3 times safer than humans, it's going to sell regulators. It's going to be provable. It's going to be something tangible. It's going to show that the number of interventions, the number of accidents, the number of injuries, et cetera, will be dramatically less than human piloted vehicles. And if it's dramatically less for those 3 things, then it would be unethical and even immoral for regulators to stop this product from being made available. In fact, the opposite could be true. The number of lives that might have been saved by seatbelts or by airbags made it mandatory to put these into vehicles. So you could imagine a situation where regulators would say, not only is it okay, but no, it's mandatory. You've got to buy this from Tesla in order to put your cars on the road, because cars that don't have it, too unsafe by comparison. Tell me where I'm wrong on this. If they force people to put seatbelts in, if they force people to put in various kinds of braking systems, if they force people to put in airbags, if they force people to put in certain kinds of protections from rollovers, why wouldn't they force people to put in FSD if it's even 2 to 3 times safer than humans? I'm waiting for your response. Number 2, the rate cuts that are coming. Okay, sure, you could argue, there are people out there arguing right now that Chair Powell didn't say there will be rate cuts in September. But any reasonable analysis, and by the way, probably 75% of the things I'm reading, people are saying, no, that was an absolute signal that we're going to get 25 basis points. Now, so much could happen between now, I think it's September 18. I keep forgetting to look it up. So much could happen between now and that date that could change Chair Powell and the rest of the board's mind. We could have a fantastic employment situation over those 4 weeks. We could see big numbers from ADP. We could see big numbers from the Labor Department. We could see really good numbers each week on the initial unemployment. We could see good numbers coming from the S&P Purchasing Managers Index. We could see good numbers coming in from the small business owners. Probably not. Every indication is that this market out there is a little soft right now. Yeah, there's not enough. Because we don't have immigration coming in and we got immigrants going out. That makes less supply also, but the demand does seem to be pretty soft right now. So I don't think that's going to happen. On the other side of the coin, we could have inflation go to the moon. But every single day, I give you Truflation's numbers. And right now, Truflation is sitting around 2%. So I don't see where these inflationary numbers are going to come from if somebody who is monitoring it by the day is showing us that we're at 2% every single day. So I think we get the rate cuts, and I think that's how the market sees it right now. That's what happened on Friday. And the rate cuts are particularly good for a company like Tesla, who is looking for lower and lower rates to reduce the cost average for the private. When a person buys a car, their cost goes down if the interest rates are lower. Obviously, I didn't have to tell you that, did I? All right. Okay. Now let's go to the new IRS ruling. Now, I reported on this yesterday. Again, the reporting on this is so thin. I don't understand why the reporting is so thin. This is huge. And it should impact the stock today. It should impact the stock all next week. So as the information gets out there more and more and more, maybe it will. But this IRS ruling says that you can buy the car, you can place your order on September 30th and give them $100 or give them the opportunity to buy your car as a trade-in. You can give them more than 100, and maybe Tesla will require more than 100. But basically, the IRS said all it has to be is earnest money. If you're giving earnest money and you've signed a contract by the 30th, Tesla could end up selling cars into December, January, February. If the demand is enough, they could end up having their order book filled for months in advance. Now, I don't know what will that turn out to be? Nobody knows, but the potential for giving us a phenomenal fourth quarter compared to what everybody's expectations has been is just dramatically up. And what does that do? Well, one of the things holding back the stock has been Elon's statement that the fourth, first, and second quarters could be rocky. And what this does is it makes it way less rocky by moving the fourth quarter into a positive situation and pushing a lot of the big benefits into the first quarter that we might have had, like the release of the Model Q that was going to be in the fourth quarter, now probably pushed to the first quarter. Although I'll give you some more caveats on that in a minute. But the truth is, even a fantastic ending quarter for the year should increase the stock. It should go up from here. Number 4, energy increase. Again, some people just hardly anybody pays any attention to this, but Shanghai should be getting very close to fully ramped. The new factory will be getting closer and closer down in Houston to being completed. Now, this is not going to happen next week, but all I'm saying is people that are paying attention, and let's say that any one of those other things cause people to go, I need to take another look at Tesla as a stock, as an investment. And they go and they're looking at things like this show. Maybe they look at this show and they go, oh, energy is going to be what? It's going to continue to be doubling over last year. We're talking about maybe 50 megawatt hours deployment in the third quarter and maybe more than that in the fourth quarter. Oh my gosh, that's big. So it's something that it's not getting a lot of attention, but instead of 9 or 9.5 or whatever it was last quarter, I think it was 11 was the maximum we've ever had. It could be 15 this coming quarter, and we could be heading towards 20 by the fourth quarter or first quarter of next year. This is very, very big. It's huge numbers. Number 5, iterative moves in the robotaxi plan. Now we're all expecting these iterative moves, but the fact that FSD 14 is going to be, 2 to 3 times safer than human, and this means Elon, that's one of the reasons Elon is so completely confident. And that's why you're seeing all these iterative moves, the Chicago move, the New York move, all these moves in Texas, the expansion of the geofence, eventually we'll be pulling out these safety riders, et cetera, as we see these iterative moves. And I think you'll see a lot of them in September, including potentially the rollout of FSD 14 to those of you who all have at least hardware, who have hardware 4, as we see that rollout and we start to see the videos and we start to hear the commentaries, that's going to help with this move on robotaxi. So I think we'll see lots and lots and lots of big announcements over the next 5 weeks with regard to robotaxi. And I think that is going to be in the psyche of the investor who's thinking about it tonight, who's thinking about it tomorrow, who's thinking about it next week as they look at the overall picture, which is what I'm trying to provide you here. Number 6, we will have the technical setup is incredibly good. I asked Grok, and Grok explained it this way: the technical breakout from a multi-month wedge and triangle consolidation with bullish engulfing candles, high volume, 91 million shares on Friday, and targets at 350 to 400, potentially reaching 500 by year end. That is unprompted, just straight up. Hey, Grok, give me all the reasons why people might be extremely bullish tonight and tomorrow with regard to Tesla stock. That was one of the 10 things that Grok gave me. Now, all of the rest of these were mine. That was the only one that I pulled specifically from Grok, but the fact is Grok's 10 were very, very similar to my 10. So here we go with number 7. So in other words, the technical setup, to the extent that you believe in the technicals, the technical setup is incredibly good. We just rejected the 310, 320 area again. We've come back up to the 338 area again. I know enough about technical analysis now to understand that that's a really good setup. Number 7, Elon's activity, including multiple promotional efforts, are clear now. I mean, he's now in charge of U.S. and European sales, and we're seeing things that are happening. We're seeing S and X potentially being offered in Europe. We're seeing the new videos that are coming out, including a new video on the website where if you go in and ask about FSD, it doesn't just give you the data. It starts off with or provides you with a video of FSD operating. You see these new packages on S and X and also on Cybertruck, bundling packages. So you're seeing all this activity, and you're seeing Elon active on X with statements like he made about the 2 to 3 times better than a human statement. All of this is positive in terms of generating interest among the crowd that pays close attention, in particular, the 240 million who follow Elon on X. The Starship launch today could be a minor help. I'm not putting that in my top 10, but the fact that Starship is launching again today calls attention to Elon. It calls attention to the companies. If it is successful, that'll draw even more attention. And hopefully, obviously, a successful launch would be a big deal for Starship and a big deal for all of the people that are associated with the Elonosphere. Number 8, a potential for a massive short squeeze as negative sentiment fades. Actually, I did get this from Grok also. So yes, we're set up for a massive short squeeze. We know there's always a lot of short activity in Tesla. And if we start to bust out at this 430, this 338 range, start heading towards 360, and some people talk about 367. These are a couple of other notable places where it looks like you have to kind of break through those numbers. But once through those numbers, pretty much all the technical analysts are saying it's 400 or bust, and that'll just be a round number issue, and that's a 400 or 410 because the old all-time high was 411 or 410. So getting up to 400, 410, then that would be another difficult level, and then from there straight up to 500 with no interference at all. Okay, number 9, Elon's pay package could easily be revealed by the end of September, as we need to have that information in order to vote on it on November 6th. So this could be a reveal later in the month, and that should be bullish. We will also be getting closer. I think the court case in Maryland will be heard. The appeals will be heard in October, and then maybe a decision in November on that. And then number 10, Model Q is still likely, I'm saying maybe will still be revealed in late September for sales in China and Europe. But maybe the sales in the United States won't start until Q1 because of this IRS change. Now, that'll depend in the United States. I'm not sure what the rollout plan was, whether China was going to get it first and then Europe and then the US, or whether we're going to try to do all three at once, or who knows, because nobody actually does know. But depending on whether there's lines available and whether the lines that the Model Q will be run on will now be needed to run Model Y and Model 3 in order to take advantage of all these orders that are possibly going to be coming in, then that could delay Model Q in the United States until next year. But it doesn't necessarily have to, at this point, there's no Osborne effect because you've got the incentive still in play. But you might want to go ahead and put the reveal out and start the sales in China and in Europe. China's got great sales, but they must have thought they had enough line capacity to do it in China. So that's not changing. That nothing about the IRS thing changes that. And in Europe, of course, we've got plenty of capacity because sales there are horrible. So maybe we still reveal at the end of September. That would be one more thing. And if we begin to see that reveal is coming up, that would also stimulate stocks ahead of time, create, of course, the old, fear of missing out, the old FOMO. Okay, those are the 10 reasons. Let me know. What did I get wrong? Would you add an 11th reason, a 12th reason? Maybe you've got a couple of other things that you're looking at. Or would you tell me that one of those 10's just no, that's not going to impact anything, Randy? Or maybe you think the whole idea is completely bogus and you think we're stuck in the 438 or the 410 to 430, range, or 440 range for a while. Let me know. Backwards, forwards. Love to hear your commentary. All right. Last night, I put up a video with Brian Wong about the semi-truck. The thesis of that video is something that Brian and I started talking about well over a year ago. And that is that, a smart company, maybe, that Tesla might be smart to do fleet sales. I'm sorry, to have their own fleet of Tesla semis. Why have other people make all the money when Tesla could create their own fleet of vehicles and put those vehicles out and do the actual drayage themselves? And clearly, there would be a lot of money to be made if you did that and if you charged market rates. I am of the belief that if they want to do this, and they may not, okay, it may be that they're perfectly happy to just make buku bucks on selling the vehicles, selling the FSD or renting the FSD and getting ongoing income from that. Maybe that's plenty enough money and that'll be fine with them. And they don't want to get all involved in the trucking industry, which has got its own issues and it's a completely different industry that they don't have any experience in. I think that it would be at least a year and a half before, or be 2027 at the earliest before they would do that. I think they're going to want to put a lot of trucks into their own in-house use, maybe some of their suppliers, in-house use, but picking up raw materials, bringing them to the factory, taking the finished goods and sending them out from the factories. Then that could be for, for SpaceX and for, the Boring Company, et cetera. But using them in-house, but also selling them to people like Pepsi and other people's that are obviously extremely interested to get these vehicles in their fleets, and really testing them, getting millions of miles of testing under their belt, getting millions of miles of FSD testing under their belt. And then at some point, the FSD thing, maybe later next year, maybe it's the end of the year, maybe it's even into 2027 when they go, okay, we're ready for FSD. Now then, when you're ready for FSD, that completely flips the whole proposition as to whether it's smarter to just sell these to others or whether it's smarter to do your own fleet, and maybe they'll decide that. I don't think it's a 2026 issue, as much as I believe that it's a huge potential and have been talking about it for a year. And I love what Sir Basher and Brian Wong together did in terms of sussing out the numbers and giving us the details of what that could look like. And quite frankly, I agree with them that if they decided to do it as their own fleet and get into the transportation business, that it could be as big as robotaxi. Okay, so that's so by the way, if you didn't see that video last night, it's right here. Brian did a video with 𝐒𝐮 also about it. You may want to watch that too. They get deeper into the specific numbers. But whatever you watch, it's very valuable to have this information in your understanding of the potential future of the Tesla Semi, which has been my second favorite product in the line for a very long time, second only to, of course, Optimus. All right, that's all I got for you right now. Later on today, we'll be doing the regular thing. We'll be doing the Monday morning show on Sunday night, as we always do. Make sure you hit notify so that you get to see that. Hit like if you haven't already done it. It's really, really late now. You should hit that like button, within like the first 30 seconds or something. That's the best time to do it. And join Patreon. I haven't seen anybody joining up on Patreon recently, but it's time. Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.